Hello viewers, welcome to a new episode where we will be discussing about functionalism and Marxist theory. We have with us today Mr. Shomo Shubrodas, who is a research scholar at Jadavpur University and he also teaches at various colleges. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
I am Shantan Mukherjee, a student of media science at ILEAD College, Kolkata. Tell us, sir, how is functionalism and Marxist media theory related?
Well, they are actually not related, but these are various theories. We need to understand that there are a plethora of theories that helps us in understanding the world we live in, especially a world where we are surrounded by media. Uh, Functionalism is just another theory that helps us to understand our existence in this world of media, but at the same time, the very question that you asked, why functionalism is clubbed with Marxist media theory, because without Marxist media theory, functionalisms cannot be understood fully. Okay. Because functionalism is, although to a great extent helps us in understanding media and the world we live in and the relationship, but also it has its own flaws. Okay, and those flaws can only be understood if we get a view from the Marxist point of view.
Okay.
Okay, there are a lot of problems in every theory, but we need to understand those problems as well as you have to appreciate the theory. Otherwise, it won't be a holistic approach. So let's start with functionalism and let's see what functionalism has to say. Okay, regarding the media world that we live in, regarding the society, regarding the various institutions that every day influence us. Let's see the background of functionalism. Functionalism is a very important stream in sociology. It was very popular stream of study, especially in anthropology, sociology, and any kind of academic field. It basically deals with social relations. Let's say you are a student, you are connected to a college, we are connected to the government, we have a lot of institutions that provide us with a lot of facilities. Okay. If you are hungry, you go to a restaurant. If you need education, you go to a college or a school. If you need any kind of health benefits, you go to a hospital. But we need to understand what is the relationship between these institutions and why do they exist, and it facilitates our existence as well in the society.
It does.
Okay, it does. Of course it does. This theory of functionalism also helps us in order to understand the various roles of institutions in the society. Okay. The first instance or the analogy that this theory draws with is that of the organs that we have in our body.
How is that?
Can you just survive with your heart and not lungs?
No, obviously not.
Can the lungs survive without the heart?
No.
Okay. So each and every organ of our body has a function.
Yes.
And all these functions help us to survive.
True.
Exactly, this is the case that's what functionalist approach is. There are various institutions which provide us with a lot of support. And each and every institution is connected to each other. And each and every support is required for us to stay healthy in a society. So, our social existence depends on these institutions which have specific functions.
Okay, can we call it a combined effort to sustain humanity?
Exactly so. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Let's talk about the history of functionalist theory. Bronislaw Malinowski and A.R. Radcliffe Brown, these were the two people who were spearheads in postulating this functionalist theory. Although these people had a little different views regarding functionalism, we will approach one by one. Okay? Each and every theory comes with a reaction to the previous theory. Functionalist theory became very popular and it came in the early 20th century as a reaction to the excessive use of the evolutionary theory in the
What was
in
that?
the 19th in the late 19th century.
How is that?
Evolution is that each and every aspect of our lives, institutions evolve with time.
Okay.
Okay, so in one way, evolutionary theory is a historical approach. Okay, it's a historical approach.
Okay.
So the historical development is traced, and then we interpret and we understand the institutions.
Okay.
The thing is, functionalists, they do not regard this theory as valid one. They do not support this thought that each and every institution has a historical development. Okay, what they more believe in is the present state of functioning. Let's say FTII, the Pune Film Institute. If you are a evolutionist, then you will track back in time and you will trace the historical development and how it evolved, how it got changed, okay, how it got upgraded. That is your theory to look at the FTII school. But if you are a functionalist, then you will just disregard the historical development.
Okay.
Okay, and you will stress on the present scenario.
Okay.
What are the departments, how is it
Okay.
functioning, and how it is developing the students. Okay, that is the approach. There's nothing wrong or right in any theory.
Okay.
Okay, don't I would ask you to not to have any kind of bias for or against any kind of theory, because all the theories are just a view to look at a particular phenomena.
Okay.
Okay, now functionalists also say that the individual needs are supported and fulfilled by these institutions. So all the institutions and individuals have functions.
Okay.
So our society is based on functions, and we go to various institutions for a kind of a purpose.
Yes.
A very much purpose oriented need and relationship exists.
A predetermined purpose?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
What functionalists say is that there are 4 basic needs. Basic needs which are mainly cultural needs. When you talk about cultural needs, it becomes a little bit of higher needs. Even though when it comes to institutions and individuals, okay, and in a functionalist approach, they consider 4 ground level needs.
Okay.
The first one is the economic need. Of course, we go to banks, we go to share markets, we need a market, we need a kind of an economy to sustain the financial status of a country.
Yes, we do.
Okay. We also need a social control.
What is that?
Social control in the sense, you can take the example of religion, you can take the example of law, you can take the example of government. So they have a function, and that is the social control.
Okay.
Okay. You also have, we require education.
Yes.
So schools, colleges, universities, they also have a function.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. And lastly, political organization.
Okay. But does that not fall under social control then?
Partly, but social control is less of politics. We know that religion is a kind of a politics, but not in a blatant way.
Okay.
Okay. It's in a very critical way we can say that religion is a political organization, but not in that blatant way. Okay.
True.
So religion, in a straightforward way, religion is just another social control. The do's and don'ts, the ethical, the moral matters. Okay. So political organization, we need political organization because we expect something to be delivered to us from various political organizations. Let's say NATO. NATO has a particular function, and it has its function aligned with the United States and the first world countries. Okay. So a kind of a political organization is also needed in the society. So all these 4 functions are related to institutions. Okay. So we have institutions for all these functions. There's a slight problem with this. Okay, whatever we have said, it's all right. We all are, we all have purposes. There are functions. Institutions are there to fulfill our desires, our needs. What Mr. Radcliffe Brown said, that social institutions, they maintain the social balance. Now, without social institutions, there will be no social balance.
True. Yeah. If you think about it.
Education, yes. If you think in that way, let's say social control, if you don't have a police or military, then there will be anarchy.
Yes, there will be chaos.
Yes. So a kind of a social control is there. But what he also says is that individuals, they are socially replaceable and they are transient. Let's
Also?
say, for how many days you will remain as a student?
Let's say 2 years more.
2 years more. And after
Yeah.
that, in
will look
this
for a
kind of an environment,
Yes.
in terms of you are here sitting, you're talking to me, after 2 years, you'll not be required here because you will stop as you will just stop there as a student. You will no more be a
Yes.
student. So your social purpose will be gone,
True.
right? So you won't be important.
Okay.
And individual, just like you are transient according to Radcliffe Brown.
Okay.
Okay, you're transient because after studentship, this man will become an employee, right?
Yes.
So he will become an employee, and after he retires, he will no more be required by a company. You will become a senior citizen then.
Then I myself am not transient. My social rules are transient.
Exactly, and your social role plays a huge thing in functionalism.
Okay.
Okay, that here we have some problems with this. By this theory of functionalism, we reduce the individuals just as functional entities in the society. You get the point?
Okay.
So your importance will no more be there after 2 years.
Yes. In this context, yes.
In this context, yes. Okay. Now, this is only social role that you play. Your importance in the society is just limited to the social role that you play.
Yes.
Okay. Now, no importance for individuals. Now, that is one of the basic complaints against functionalism, and especially against Radcliffe Brown.
Okay.
Okay. So it's not a major complaint against another person who postulated this theory, Manosky, but it's a main complaint against this person. So, there's no importance of the individuals. It's only the subjects. Subjects are created by culture. Subjects are created by institutions. You are student. Why? Because the institution says so.
Yes.
Okay. Functionalism reduces your role just to a subject, but will not consider your desires. Functionalist approaches to media. There are 5 major ones. The first one is surveillance. The second one is correlation. I will explain each and every one. The third one is cultural transmission. The fourth one is entertainment. And the last one is mobilization. Now, we will just try to understand what these 5 elements mean. When we talk about surveillance, the media gives us news, and the media fulfills a function for us.
It does.
Okay, so we have the knowledge of the world from news media, from whatever media that we have. Okay, advertisements, cinema, cricket, everything.
Yes.
So we survey the world, we survey the society through the media. So this is one of the functions.
Okay.
But at the same time, you can say the media also has a surveillance on us.
How is that?
Take example of your new media,
Social
or
media?
social media,
Okay.
or your Gmail.
Yes.
Okay, so it's quite vulnerable. Okay.
Yes, it is.
Actually, the government or the authorities might be watching us.
Our activities.
Yes.
Yes.
So in that way, surveillance is not the audience or the users are at full, liberty to survey the world.
This is a very new thing, though.
Yes, it is a new thing, but this is a much more simplistic approach that we can survey the world cannot survey us.
Yes.
Okay? Let's move on to the second point, which is correlation. Media provides us information, but only after careful selection, interpretation, and criticism. Now, in journalism, in journalistic studies, we have a term called the gatekeepers.
Yes.
The gatekeepers. Who are these gatekeepers? They control all the flow of news through the gates, and that gate, um, you know, is almost a kind of a filter for us.
Okay.
Okay, and all the information, the news, the coverage has to pass through that gate, that filter.
Okay.
That is called correlation.
Okay. Who decides them? The media houses?
The media houses, the
Okay.
journalists, and sometimes, let's say, there's a huge crisis, or there's a huge crime committed by a very powerful person who owns a media house. Okay, we have seen this in recent past. That information will never come to us
Yes. Through that media house. at
through
least.
that media house.
Okay.
Okay. Now, cultural transmission. Media reflects our own value system, our beliefs, norms, and all the cultural ramifications specific to a set of life. How do we know about Durga Puja? In schools? No.
No. From our families, from tradition?
From tradition, from families, but
Yes.
in a world, in today's world, we come to know about all the cultural ramifications, the not so popular, cultural events which have become very popular nowadays, just like Dhanteras.
Yes.
Okay, how do we know that? Even our parents wouldn't have known then. This
No.
is because media gives us all these cultural transmissions,
Okay. Exposure.
exposures.
Okay.
Okay, that is also a kind of a function which the functionalists acknowledge.
Okay.
Okay, of course, this is quite easy. Entertainment. Now, after a hard day's work, all the news, all the cultural transmission, all the functions, we also need some kind of a escapade, so that we can escape from our daily lives to a world of illusion, to a make-believe world. That's why you will always find that some very bad films in all the aspects are huge hit. And if you ask the audience, why are you know that it's a bad film, then why are you watching it? They will say that just for entertainment. I just want to get out of my hardship of life.
Okay.
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 You will find it.
An escapism.
Escapism. That is
Okay.
also, the functionalists take entertainment as also as a function.
Okay.
Okay, so leisure time is also a kind of a function for us that the institution provides. Let's say entertainment institutions, entertainment houses.
Yes.
Okay. Mobilization. This is the last factor of media approach. Media functions to its fullest capacity in promoting the interests of the society. Interests of the society, especially during war, during a crisis. Media always informs us.
Okay. Yes.
They always inform us in the
Yes.
sense that we can take decisions, we can mobilize ourselves, our decisions. Okay, and we know what to do, how to react.
Yes.
So these are the 5 approaches of functionalism in media. As we were discussing, it was quite clear that it has its own problems. To an extent, functionalism is right when they talk about institutions, they have the functions, but you're also an individual. You might exist, you might have a role in the society even without a function.
True.
Let's say, what is your function to your mother
Yes.
or to your sister? Only to earn money?
Nothing. No. As a son, as a family member.
As a son.
Yes.
So the individuals sometimes,
Yes.
they might not have functions. Even some institutions might not have functions.
Okay. What
Okay.
kind of institutions are those?
Maybe charity,
Okay.
maybe independent filmmaking,
Mm-hmm.
maybe folk art,
Yes.
maybe going to a library, maybe reading books without the purpose of having any kind of function.
Okay.
Okay. We don't always read books just to do some work or to get marks in the exam. We sometimes read books just for our own self.
True.
So probably it's not entertainment also. But individuals, they seek this kind of, pleasures which are not functional. Now, the society cannot be reduced to a mere function.
Okay.
You cannot have it, because we are living beings. We are full of life. Okay. Affection has no function. But the whole society has to stand by on affection, isn't it? They
Yes.
have to be united, otherwise you can only stop violence through affection and understanding, which might not have any kind of function. Violence might have function,
Okay, yes.
but peace doesn't have any function.
True.
Okay, sometimes
Yeah.
it is the case. Now, criticism of functionalist approach. Social event has to be inquired not through its historical development, but by the present state of its existence. That's what the functionalists think. Okay, that's what we were discussing, the present state of institutions. But they do not believe in the historical development of things. Now, we cannot see our present if we do not cast a glance on our history.
Yes.
So the historical development is very important. Of course, no one is saying that we do not consider the present state of existence. But even after that, we need to have a historical development. Do all social institutions have functions and purposes? There is a very interesting term, a Marxist term called reification.
Okay.
Reification, which says that it puts human values on non-living objects for profit or for transactional purpose.
Okay. Are you talking about religion?
To a great extent.
Okay.
Okay, sometimes in religion we see reification. Let's say you have two friends. One is not financially good and another one is quite rich.
Okay.
So you put a lot of values on that rich friend because you have some kind of functional approach to him.
True.
That sometimes becomes very inhuman. And that
It
is
does.
one of the aspects that Marxists have taken up. No human value, but only transactional purpose. You as a student with the institution, you only have transactional purpose. But what after if you have a very good friendship with a professor? Can't you come to the college or just to have some time or discussion with your professor?
Absolutely, I would.
Yes, but the functionalists will not acknowledge that.
Okay.
Okay. So everything cannot be transactional. Everything that exists in the society has to have a function. If it is so, then we will come down to social Darwinism, which is survival of the fittest.
True.
In a society, whoever is fit, whoever is functional, he will only exist. So
Very
that is
inhuman.
one of the dangers.
Yes.
Marxists point out, this is one of the last points, Marxists point out that functionalism throws light on the benefits of the institutions which contribute to the society.
Okay.
What if you run a theatre group which only has a theatre culture within your friend circle and it doesn't have a function?
It
Okay.
could be.
So, if we adhere too much to the functionalist approach of institutions, then we have to support the corporate institutions, the exploitative big institutions, without raising any questions.
True.
Right? Okay. Now, most of the capitalist and privatized institutions are beneficial for small group of people.
Rich people?
Only rich people, the ruling class.
Okay.
This is where the Marxist approach is very important in order to understand the flaws of functionalist approach. Probably the first question that you asked.
Actually, the relation.
Yes. Okay. This is what we had for the functionalist approach, and just a vague idea of how we can have a critical appraisal of functionalist approach through Marxist media theory. Okay.
Yes.
Now, this is a kind of a gateway in order to, get into the Marxist media theory, which is beyond the scope of this session.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.